So here I have, this is a box out of our equipment. What's cool about this box is that it's, actually I can tell by its construction, it's one of our very oldest. It's probably going on 10 years old. Looks to be holding up just fine. But today I want to use it as a quick demo for how we prepare our walk-away splits. So in the springtime, when we're making splits, we will go up to a mature colony, a large overwintered colony, and we will open it and inspect it for the quality of the queen. We'll inspect the brood, make sure that the colony is in a good state of health and robust, and an adequate size to allow us to make a divide from it. Typically that season coincides with the swarm season, and the colonies are very congested with bees. And so we will take an empty box and we'll place it to the side, and then we go in and we look for 2 sets of 4 combs as I described. So each 4-frame walk-away split, each 4-frame starter colony is going to be comprised of a honey frame and another feed frame with pollen. Typically we place the pollen frame to the interior, honey frame to the exterior, and then 2 frames of brood in the middle. And we'll repeat that 2 times. So it goes honey, capped brood, open brood, pollen, pollen, open brood, capped brood, honey, right? And then once we have that, our equipment has a dado cut down the middle of each short side, and that enables us to place in the division board, which is the most important component of the 2-way. And we like them nice and tight. Lots of propolis. You can scrape your propolis out if you like to have everything loose, but we like it snug. So then this box now is separated, 2 4-frame cavities, right? And when placed on a 2-way bottom board with a lid on, is 2 separate 4-frame cavities and 2 attempts at raising a new queen inside each box. Why is that important? Well, one is that really we feel every time you're raising a new queen, a new colony, it's a chance, it's a condition left up to nature, and there's chance involved, and so of course you're not going to succeed in raising a queen every time you want. For one, that queen has to emerge and then fly forth into nature, sometimes on multiple days, and come back to the colony safely after having mated with drones. So the weather has to be right for that to occur. The queen could get caught in inclement weather, though you know, they typically won't engage in mating flights unless it's a very nice day, but that queen could also get eaten by a bird. There's many things that could happen. The queen could get disoriented and fly back to the wrong colony. So however it goes, it's a chancy process, and every beekeeper, when raising new queens, has to kind of find for themselves a cost-benefit formula that works for them. How much resources do you want to invest in the starting of a new colony? Well, on one hand, the more the better. But on the other hand, when there's failure, then that potentially is bees, stores, combs, space, time, energy lost or wasted. So what we have is a process that's aimed at minimizing that expense to the bees and the beekeeper. Now, we also feel like at the other end of the spectrum, there's a minimum number of bees that are required for the rearing of a quality queen. So when queen breeders use a cell builder for the rearing of multiple queens in one cavity, rearing of multiple queen cells in one cavity, they will typically make that cell builder a very robust colony so that it can adequately handle the task of tending many queen cells simultaneously. Well, the good news is we don't have that same requirement. We're only asking each 4-frame starter colony to rear the number of queen cells required for one good queen. But likewise, we want that queen to be of exemplary quality, and so for us the answer is 4 frames of bees, nothing less. So if you're introducing an already reared cell to a mating nucleus colony, you know, in the industry, mating nucleus colonies can be as small as 1 cup of bees dumped into a cavity. But those bees only have the job of insulating, incubating that queen cell until the queen emerges and flies forth to mate. They don't have the job of tending to and rearing that queen larva up and to the point where the cell is capped. That is the important phase that dictates the amount of nutrition that goes into the rearing of that queen. So for us, we need many more bees associated with that than, say, the number of bees you might find in a typical mating nucleus. So for us, that's 4 frames. The good news about this system is that with a 70% chance of success, you're going to very frequently find that one 4-frame unit has succeeded and one 4-frame unit has failed. And when we come back a month after setting up these starter colonies, then inspecting to find the presence or absence of a newly mated queen, it's a very simple process to remove this division board and reunite those bees, thereby really minimizing any lost resources, both to the bees and to the beekeeper. Because these bees all came out of the same hive, they're actually all sisters, and they reunite very peacefully. And in that way, even though one colony has failed to raise a new queen and maybe is moving towards becoming a drone layer or demoralized by the lack of queen pheromone after a month, that quickly turns around with the removal of the division board. You reunite. You can come back in as little as a day and find that the queen is now over on these combs laying in that what was previously a queenless unit. So for us, that's a very smooth, easy way to handle the rearing of queens without lost investment of resources in terms of time, bees, comb, stores, everything. So the good news is a queenless colony continues to forage and continues to bring resources back to the hive. And so these combs are often still, you know, copiously full of all of the things that bees need for survival. So it's a very quick transition from a 4-frame starter colony into an 8-frame starter colony with the removal of the division board and only one queen. Now, if we're fortunate enough to find that both sides have reared a queen successfully, then it's very simple. One side, one starter colony is removed into their own cavity, and then the division board is removed, empty combs are put in, and so forth, and then you have set them up to expand into a full box. So that's the basis of how we do things. That's what's nice about that system is that you're not needing any specialized equipment. You're not needing mating nuclei boxes, nuke boxes. You're not having to build and maintain and store and organize and clean additional set of equipment. All of our equipment is set up for this process, and so we can walk up to any given colony and prepare a box of bees off of that colony and walk away with it. And that is a simple process, and it's a process that enables us to use all the equipment that we already use. So as a small company, we're trying to minimize the amount of different equipment we have to handle, maintain, store, construct, and so forth. And so for us, this is the perfect solution. And likewise, why I would say it's the perfect solution for the backyard beekeeper as well, because they can literally just be using the equipment that they already employ for tending their bees. For instance, unused honey supers or what have you would be perfect for rearing starter colonies in the spring, and then can be converted into regular equipment. So that's the natural expansion. Very simple. 4 frames into 8, 8 frames into multiple boxes high. All essentially iterations of the same equipment and everything. So simple and convenient.